Manchester City just keep on slipping up in the race for the Premier League title.
Oh my goodness, Manchester City 0, Tottenham 4. They have just capitulated, Man City, in the second half.
When we are happy when we win and we are concerned when we don't win, that's normal. Life is like that.
It was a collapse. So we've not seen Man City get beat. We've seen them capitulate in a game, which that is even worse than getting beaten.
Obviously, City are going to have to sort of, rebuild the next Pep team.
There goes the full-time whistle. Well, it wasn't comfortable for Arne Slot's men, but they've got the job done. They go 8 points clear at the summit.
In the terms of Liverpool is winning, it's true. Yeah.
So that would be the title gone already?
I don't know. Maybe the expectations are so high, but we are not ready in that situation to think what is going to happen at the end of the season. And at the end, if we don't win, it's because we don't deserve it.
So, City fans, are you a side in decline? Is the club to blame maybe for a lack of recruitment? 03717 22 33 The lines are open. Spurs fans, are you excited or is it frustrating watching your side each week? 03717 22 33 And Arsenal supporters, Martin Odegaard is back. Is he enough to make the difference? We want to hear your thoughts on the title race. And I'll tell you what, Ali, when you look at next weekend's fixtures and you think, well, if Liverpool beat Manchester City, they would be 11 points ahead of City. But I don't know about you. I think it's very different this year.
Yes.
In that I don't think even that would be an unassailable lead, because I sort of feel like anybody could beat anybody. If you looked at Liverpool
of course it can.
Before the end of the season, you think, well, they've got to play City again, they've got to play Arsenal, they've got to play Chelsea, they've got to play Spurs, they've got to play Brighton. All of those sides on their day probably capable of beating them.
Of course, yeah. It's wide open in terms of, and I've gone on record as saying it, Jeff, that this year would be different. You'll get more, inverted commas, surprise, shock results. You'll get more Forests winning at Liverpool. You'll get Bournemouth beating Arsenal and City and things like that. I think that's going to happen this year. I genuinely do. That said, if Liverpool go 11 points clear, I mean, dear me, you'd have to say that at that particular point in the season, I think roughly just about a third of the season gone, it would be an incredible lead and one that could only have dreamt of, to be honest with you. But you're right. Everything to play for. The fact of the matter is, Jeff, the league is of the quality that teams are capable of beating each other on the day. It's as simple as that. And we will not get, I don't think this year we will get 2 or 3 teams completely running away with it when there'll be a gap maybe to about 15, 20 points to fourth. I just don't see that happening this year, Jeff, which is great.
I mean, City 5 defeats on the bounce.
Incredible.
When you look at it, it's hard to see them, on the basis of that performance, it's hard to see them immediately turning it around, isn't it?
Absolutely. Listen, in my opinion, they'll get into the game next week second favourites. I mean, Liverpool starting the game favourites, you've got to say, of course they will. You might say they're not firing all cylinders, Liverpool, but City have lost their last 5. Spine of the team is a massive problem. And I include Diaz in the Rodri situation. And it'll be interesting to hear the City fans. De Bruyne on his day is absolutely different level, one of the best players in the world, I would go as far to say. But I don't think they're missing him as much as they're missing their 2 key players probably. When I say defensively, well, I do mean defensively, and that would be Rodri and indeed Diaz. I think they're absolutely vital to them, because when City have the ball, they're brilliant, Jeff, right? Absolutely brilliant. But the problem they're having now in the last 5 games is when they don't have the ball. That's the massive problem that they've got, and they look really open to a counter-attack. And look at the goals that they're losing, the goals that they're giving away. I mean, it's clearly evident they've got problems, and they're not going to be addressed in terms of obviously they're not going to replace Rodri. I don't know what the injury situation with Diaz is, but the sooner they get him back, the better. I mean, I saw him that second half over in Lisbon. That was the telltale. The alarm bells were ringing for me then, mate.
Absolutely. You mentioned the goals. They've conceded 17 in 12 league games. Last season they conceded 34 all season. So they conceded half of last season's total already. Look, we talked a lot about Manchester City and Liverpool and Manchester United, of course. What about Arsenal? Because Mikel Arteta made some big decisions against Forest. OK, Declan Rice, not fully fit, so you could understand why they were cautious and left him on the bench. But Kai Havertz left out as well. Thomas Partey left out. And, I mean, big calls. And, of course, for them, the return of Martin Odegaard
is
incredible.
It's a big thing, Jeff. Listen, and you and I speak about it, and I'll repeat what I said, and I've said before. We were all aware, everybody was aware, how much Manchester City would miss Rodri. We were all aware, or we thought we were aware, how much Arsenal would miss Odegaard. I just cannot believe how much they've missed him. We think to ourselves, well, they're key players. They're going to be it's going to be problematic for City and Arsenal, for Pep and indeed Arteta. But they'll adapt. They've got good players in other positions. They'll switch things around. They have struggled, like you've no idea, to replace the quality. Well, you're talking about two of the best players on the planet at this moment in time. Rodri's World Player of the Year, and Odegaard's been absolutely alarmingly good since he's been into that midfield. So it has been. We knew they'd missed him, but it has been a bigger surprise to me just how much they've missed him. And Arsenal, in particular, are just a different team when he plays.
A completely different team. Let's take a couple of calls. Dave is a Liverpool fan. Morning, Dave.
Good morning, Dave.
Morning, lads. You all right?
Yeah,
Dave,
good.
thanks,
How are you feeling about your team at the moment?
Do you know what, Jeff? Right, I'm a realist. I think most Liverpool fans, I'm a season ticket holder, right? And we haven't played well this season at all. And we're sitting 8 points clear at the minute. Now, I think Emile Heskey hit the nail on the head earlier on. You know, back in the day when Fergie was in charge and they were winning everything, you know, they used to win ugly. They used to get over the line with a scruffy 1-0 win. Doesn't matter how you win. As long as you get the win and you can keep points tallying up on the board, it doesn't matter. Because what I do think is when we do hit a bit of form, then at least, you know, we should be in a good position to go on a decent run. Because what we know, one thing that's inevitable, is come the turn of the year, it doesn't matter how far behind Man City are, we could be 15 points clear, but they will go on a run and they'll probably win 10, 12 games on the trot. So you need a buffer, you need a good buffer, and I think we're putting ourselves in a great position. But realistically, I think most Liverpool fans would have said, big transition year from Klopp to Slot. We'd be happy with top 4, a decent run in the Champions League. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm absolutely delighted with what he's doing and how he's done it. And by the way, just for the record, we're also missing key players.
Yeah. Correct,
like
Jota.
Like Jota. You know, they're definitely in the starting 11
Good
every
point.
week, and we're missing them. So, and my final point is, I'd rather have a piece of square slice than a square goal any day, Ali.
Me too, mate.
Brilliant.
Me too. You've made my day there, mate. Brilliant.
Dave, well said.
Dave.
Great points.
Cheers,
been a
Dave.
great season as far as Liverpool are concerned at the moment. Akin, who's a Liverpool fan, says, as a Liverpool fan, I'm absolutely fearing a backlash from Manchester City next week. We shall see. And Jeff and Ali, another text here says, when you talk about Liverpool's fixtures, they also play Newcastle at St James's Park a week on Wednesday, so some big games ahead. Just while we're talking about the weekend football, I just want to make one very brief point. A game we've not mentioned at all, and we probably won't mention it during the course of it. Fulham against Wolves. Matthias Cunha. Cunha. After Gary O'Neill afterwards, he summed it up like this: he's top.
Yep.
And boy, Gary, you are so right.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.